Hello, everyone. I'm Lisa D'Amico with the Rockland Arts Festival, and I have the great pleasure of speaking to Lola Koundakjian. Thank you. Lola, I'm already a fan of your work, your poetry. Could you tell the viewers a little bit about your journey as a poet? And also, you are a multi-layered artist. So I know you're a poet, but I know you also do a lot of visual work, and I know that you do editing as well.
Yes,
So I would love to hear more about you and your journey.
thank you for inviting me. It's an honor to be at the Rockland Arts Festival. What a wonderful thing to do on a Sunday morning. My journey to literature was through my education. I was born in Beirut, Lebanon. I'm an Armenian, and I went to an Armenian private school where it was mandatory to have all the same languages as my peers. So Armenian as our Western Armenian, especially as our mother tongue, Arabic as the official language of the country, French because it was under French mandate between World War I, World War II, and English as a very useful international language. So believe it or not, our curriculum included doing all the sciences and all the arts in these languages at various levels. So while I was in high school, I had Armenian literature about Armenian writers specifically, French literature from medieval to contemporary in French, English. I did it only until 10th grade, so before coming to the States. So I had a touch of Steinbeck, Faulkner, and Shakespeare. And then Arabic, all the classical Arabic texts of the time. So this was infused in me from my youth. And because French literature included a lot of fables and tales and also Roman and ancient Greek mythology, I had to learn a lot about these things as well. Fast forward 20 years later, I'm in the United States. I'm finishing graduate school. I want to be a visual artist, but I'm reading. I'm exploring things that I'm seeing at my university, and that included poetry reading. You know, Barnard College girls doing this at the end. It's like, wow, what is this? This is very interesting, you know? So living in New York, I also attended a lot of readings, not just live music. And I was very, found this intriguing. I'm liking this. Why am I liking this? I didn't like this as a kid, etc. So at some point, my journey turned from being 100% visual artist on my free time, of course, because I had a day job, to being more and more interested in writing, experimenting, translating. And this was the journey that got me started in writing my own work. So I currently do a lot of editing and I do a lot of translating. In fact, today I sent off to London a few pieces by a contemporary Armenian author who used the pen name Zahrad. And okay, let's see. Where am I going with this? Just a second. Let me pause 1 second to think about what it. So at some point after doing a lot of translating and starting a blog of my own called the Armenian Poetry Project, I realized that I was indeed interested in doing some of my own writing. In the beginning, it was very short stanzas. It was difficult to write very lengthy things, but I always persevered by going to readings, reading books at home, hearing poetry, and then taking a couple of workshops. Before the pandemic, we had a workshop group in Washington Heights, my neighborhood. Unfortunately, some people moved away, understandably, and also moved to the West Coast. I mean, it wasn't practical to do even a Zoom. But until then, I was able to meet with people who were from the neighborhood and like-minded because they were interested in poetry and exchange notes, read to each other. Now there are people with whom I do the same, but on the phone. And that is a very important thing because as Yusuf Komunyakaa, an American poet who was a Vietnam War veteran, often says the voice edits, and it's important to have that audio exchange of poetry, because you suddenly say, oh my God, I think I used that word 3 times in the same stanza. What's wrong with me? But you don't notice it when you're writing it, right? So as you edit, it is a very interesting exercise, the audio portion, before you read it out loud or have it printed somewhere or submitted even. So that's my journey.
That's fascinating. I read on your website that your work, your poetry, has been translated into other languages.
Yes.
I'm curious, when that happens, right? Do you feel that it ever changes either the content or the intention somehow of your work when it's translated into other languages? Because I'm sure that you hire people to do this kind of work for you in certain languages that you're not acquainted with.
I have, for Spanish, like the book that you have read, I had to hire a professional translator. Some of the other languages, Hungarian, etc., were because an anthology was being prepared, and I had to trust the translator 150%. I don't think I will have the capacity to learn Hungarian to the point of translating my own work or reading the translations. So
Right.
there is a trust. Okay, there's a reciprocation of that, and a lot of people contact you to say, hey, is it okay? And I say, absolutely. My work is going to be included in your anthology. It's an honor. Right. But you have to trust the individual. So
when you write in different languages, are you writing one poem and then translating it? Or do you feel that, let's say, something you've written in English won't be as impactful in Armenian?
It's the inspiration that guides me. When I write Armenian poetry, I translate my own work into English. It's not a different poem. It's the same poem. But majority of my work is in English, about 60%, I would say. And I translate them then into French, because those are the languages that I feel comfortable with in my knowledge. Learning from other poets and exercising your translation skills is something I find very, very important. I often recommend this to young Armenian poets, and a lot of people want to just write in English because, quote, nobody will understand them otherwise. But I disagree, because we can translate, and there are people who are interested in hearing foreign languages. Rest assured, I'm not making this up. The fact that I was invited to my first international poetry festival in the city of Medellin in Colombia, which is an amazing poetry festival, was solely because I was a non-English writer.
Wow.
They like foreign language. They like hearing them, even though everything gets translated, because the local audience will not possible for somebody to know 25 languages. Very rare anyway for linguists, but that's their specialty, right? So they like hearing those things, but they always have a way to find a translator, and or either the author brings that or they have a local translator. The first time I was translated into Spanish was because there was a gentleman by the name of Leon Blanco. I never met him, but I will be forever thankful that he translated my work.
Wow. Where do you what are the sources of your inspiration?
Life, witnessing life. It can be the moon. It can be a walk in the park. It can be meeting someone, a stranger for the first time. I'm lucky when that happens, of course. Yeah.
Right, that is the goal.
I went to Fort Tryon Park, and I saw signs of life, and I wrote about it. Would you like me to read it?
Yes, very much.
And it's got visuals, so I'm going to share briefly, and I hope it comes through in the. I'll just put a page up for a quick thing, but this is what I did. I did a little collage of the poems.
Oh, that's wonderful. And you know what? If you send me that image, we can put it into this video. That would be wonderful if you could text it or email it to us.
Okay. Making a note of that. So it's called Snow Dusting, and it's dedicated to Fort Tryon Park, which is minutes away from my apartment. I wake up to the noise of supers scraping sidewalks and look out my window. The snow did stick after all. At dawn, I breakfast and leave the house without snow boots. It's just a dusting, I say to my fears, and head north. There are few human tracks leading me to the park, and fewer people there, like that Buddhist monk meditating on her bench facing the Palisades. Here and there I pass a runner, some walkers, but the evidence of life is here. The sun rose today. Someone turned 9. Some child drew with chalk. Some squirrels walked here. Someone fed them a peanut. Blue jays flew by. But on my way home, I see the groundkeeper throwing salt, so all that beauty will soon be lost. Even the experiences of my body, the frostbitten face and fingers, the frozen lashes, returned to normal the moment I entered home.
Thank you.
This was written in January of 2021.
That's incredible.
So thank you. Thank you.
Lola, it has been such a pleasure speaking with you. I appreciate your work, and I recommend to everyone to please visit Lola's website, and you will understand why I am in love with her poetry.
Thank you so much, Lisa. It's a pleasure meeting you.